Welcome to another edition of Our City. I hope everyone enjoyed the holiday season, and I wish all of you a very healthy and enjoyable new year. A few things going around the city of Elizabeth this week. From January 21st to Friday, January 24th, I'm going to join mayors from around the nation at the 88th annual winter meeting of the U.S. Conference of Mayors in Washington, D.C. For more information, you can visit www.usmayors.org. We should be meeting with some cabinet secretaries, and the president's invited the mayors to the White House on Friday. On Tuesday, January 28th at 6 o'clock, I'm going to be on a panel about climate change. It's going to be held at the Elizabeth Public Library, located at 11 Broad Street. The New Jersey Future Climate Ready CSO Solutions program is partnering with the New Jersey Climate Change Adaptation Alliance, the Sewage Free Streets and Rivers campaign. Groundwork Elizabeth and Future City are also partners in this endeavor. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 908-820-4124. And for this week's show, I'm pleased to be joined by Miss Linda Flores-Tober, who is the Executive Director of the Coalition to House the Homeless here in the city of Elizabeth and works with homeless issues throughout the county and the region. Linda, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. It's good to be back again.
So, Linda, you've been active with the coalition for as long as I can remember. So are you afraid to tell us how long?
No, actually July 3rd of this year, I celebrate my 30th year there.
30th year.
Yep.
So you started there in 1990.
I started in 90 as a temp job, and I've been ever since. I really enjoy working on the whole issue of housing, and I love our folks that we work with in the community. I really care about them.
So who actually hired? Did Sister Jacinta the one that hired? I mean,
Actually, the coalition is separate from St. Joe's, so it was the board that hired me. So it was Joan Driscoll Kelly and Michael Fabricant who both hired me.
Okay, so Sister Jacinta's operation is separate.
Yes.
Okay, and that's St. Joseph's.
That's St. Joseph's Social Service Center. I mean, we work hand in glove. You wouldn't know. It's a seamless garment. But yet, we are separately boarded and separately funded.
Okay. Two buildings shared with a parking lot, though.
Exactly. Yep, a small parking lot.
So, are you an Elizabeth girl? Were you born and bred here? Tell us a little about yourself.
No, I grew up down the shore, actually,
okay.
And came to Elizabeth when I got married in 1990, and I've been here ever since. And I really enjoy the city. It's really a very unique and special city. I like the life. I like the color of all the different people that we have here. And there's a lot to do. We always have something going on.
That's true. That's true. So, can you give us the history of the coalition, Linda? I mean, how did it start?
We started in 1982, and we came during the Reagan era. A lot of programs were cut, and the number of homeless started to grow. And so we came out as an activist organization originally to address the need that was growing in the city and was not being recognized. And, Sister Jacinta always teaches that you need to address the systemic issues, but at the same time, you need to serve the people who are at hand, because they're not going to take up a sign for more housing when they don't have a place to sleep tonight, they don't have food to eat tonight. So we began to provide services. We do continue to act and address the issue of homelessness, but at the same time, we really have a robust program of services now, after we've been here for 37 years.
Yeah, and that robust bit about services is important in today's society, because there are different types or different levels of homelessness, and people at risk, people.
Well, yeah.
So there's different. I mean, probably not phrasing it correctly, but
you're right. There's people who are literally homeless, and so of those who are literally homeless, HUD divides those who are chronically homeless, and they very narrowly define it by so many months per so many years. But people who are just unendingly homeless on.
Before
and
you
off.
go on, so to be classified homeless, it's based on the number of months?
If you're going to be chronically homeless. If you're literally homeless, you're literally sleeping somewhere that's not considered safe to be sleeping in. You have no home. And then if you're at risk, it's like, you're behind on your rent, you're struggling with financial issues, and you're about to be evicted or to lose your housing, however you have housing.
And does the coalition get involved in all aspects and different levels of homelessness?
We do. We have a large number of people who come to us for rental assistance for back rent. And it's critical that we are able to help them because that prevents them from sliding into the abyss. Because getting out of homelessness is very expensive, and also it's traumatizing to the family, especially the children.
So the homeless people that may seek an encampment somewhere, you always hear the saying that people will bring up, well, some people just want to be homeless. And it's a sad statement, but there are people throughout this country who will say that.
Well, I don't agree. I think nobody wants to be homeless.
I don't either, but
yeah.
I'm just
it is
letting
sad,
you know.
But
that
people do think that. But what happens is I think some people want the freedom to make their own choices, and they can't seem to manage to make a choice so that they can get housing. And so I don't think anyone enjoys sleeping on a park bench or outside, but sometimes there are other barriers, like they have substance abuse issues or they're mentally ill, and so they can't make those choices. So it appears like they like it better, but everybody wants a place.
Substance abuse and mental illness are really difficult in the homeless population.
Absolutely.
And did your organization deal with that issue at times?
We do, and we see people who are struggling with those. And our thing is, we are, our specialty is working with housing and homelessness, but we work very closely with places like Bridgeway House, with the hospital Trinitas. We work very closely with various programs that address the substance abuse issues, and try to get our folks into programs so that they can start to build their own personal health and get into housing.
And the issues of at risk is something that really we all focus on at times. Do they ever pull at your heartstrings, the people that are at risk?
It always pulls my heartstrings, whether they're on the streets or in a place and they're struggling. It's housing is one of the 4 things you need to live as an organism. Without housing, air, water, and food, you die. So it must be awful to fear that you're going to lose your housing.
And the coalition as an organization, tell us about the structure and how you deal with these myriad of issues that we just spoke about.
Well, everyone comes in through our drop-in center. Last year we saw over 1,000 households in our drop-in center. And then there's an assessment that we do to see where they are. I call it the 5 easy questions, but if we know the answers to those questions, we're able to help people get into a program, if it exists, to address their issues.
Financial literacy?
We do teach, we have a community education program, and we teach people about budgeting and financial literacy.
And Bridgeway would deal with some mental issues?
And yeah, in fact,
challenges?
We're working with them to see if they can come and be in our office on a regular basis, so that we can have the support of their expertise.
So the coalition, tell us about your relationship between health, housing, and homelessness, because you just kind of hinted at it with the 5 levels. Tell us more a little in depth.
Well, really the bottom line is you can't maintain your health. You can't do anything unless you have a place to live. Whether it's something simple as a room with a bed, or a 3-bedroom apartment. But whatever that level of housing is that meets your needs, without that, we can't even begin to address your health needs, your mental health needs, because you can't do it sitting on a curb. So housing is like the first step. And very often you'll hear, I just heard about a study that was done in Camden, a national study about working with people and saying, let's give them wraparound services to help them improve their health care and keep them out of the emergency room. And one of the reasons it failed is because there's not enough affordable housing to keep people housed. And without that, all the wraparound services and everything else, it doesn't work, because you need a place.
Linda, we're going to take a break, run a couple of commercials, and come back and talk more.
Okay.
Please stay with us after these messages. We'll talk more with Linda Flores-Tober about the Coalition to House the Homeless and their work in the city of Elizabeth.
York City. We are the gateway to the state of New Jersey. Experience Elizabeth. It all starts here. Just minutes from New York City, we are the gateway to the state of New Jersey. Experience Elizabeth. It all starts here.
New Jersey is the cockpit of the revolution, and this was the center of the cockpit in many ways. Elizabeth became the center, really, of the skirmishing that went on during what we call the Forage Wars. Here in Elizabethtown, you will find that this was also the marketplace of the revolution. And Elizabethtown became a major jumping off spot for what we called the London trade. We would like to commemorate, certainly, the brave men who lived and gave their lives to our quest for independence. I can say it about the good people of Elizabethtown, just as I did when I was out on Long Island. And I will never forget this, looking down from the Brooklyn Heights at the Jamaica Pass and seeing the brave men of the Maryland regiments fighting a rearguard action to allow the rest of our army to retreat. And they were surrounded and completely overwhelmed, but they would not give up their positions, and I watched them fall one by one, and I said, dear God, how many brave men must I lose before this business ends? I would certainly like to invite everyone to come to Elizabethtown and see where this war was fought. The war for your independence, for your liberties, and your freedoms. And remember that, as I say, if New Jersey was the cockpit of the revolution, Elizabethtown was right in the center of it.
Just minutes from New York City, we are the gateway to the state of New Jersey. Experience Elizabeth. It all starts here.
Welcome back to our city, where I'm joined by Linda Flores-Tober, the Executive Director of the Coalition to House the Homeless here in our city. Linda, one of the keys to your organization has to be volunteers. Do you have them? How do you organize them? Do they report to somebody? What are the volunteers' roles?
We have a volunteer coordinator, and we have lots of things that people can do. Things that people can do on our premises, such as work with our kids program, help Operation Warm Heart, and get involved with our service fair that's coming up at the end of the month. But people can also do things at home. So we ask people to do collections, sometimes people sponsor our different units of housing because we have 2 transitional houses. So there's lots of things.
We worked with you
do.
on the transitional housing. How's that going, by the way?
It's going well. It's going well. It's always full, and people successfully graduate from the program.
They do.
So we're very pleased with it. Yeah, in fact, one.
Explain that how we did that. We worked together with you years ago on some of those units.
Right. So, well, the city really helped us make sure that we were able to get the housing and the buildings. And then we provided housing to working families, because working families are not entitled to emergency assistance in the system, and so they are often left out without a place to live, very frequently sleeping in their cars. And so they can come and live in our place for up to 9 months, and during that time build up a little savings, kind of get their employment situation straightened out, because sometimes that needs to have some help. And then they move into permanent housing. I have a woman with 2 daughters. One had special needs. She lost her job because her job did some downsizing, and she was able to find new work, save up some money, and she's now actually living in one of our permanent houses that we've gotten in conjunction with the
So that's a
city.
real success story.
Absolutely.
And you have others.
Oh, many of people. We've had families go on and buy their own home at some point later, but they started with the base of being in transitional
So has
housing.
anybody come back?
Some people have come back and gotten involved and volunteered.
And do you have a website? And
We do.
can people donate through the website if they so choose?
Absolutely, they
Tell
can.
us about that.
So our website is www.theelizabethcoalition.org. And there's a donate button on there, so you just click it and it takes you right to the space that you can donate.
So before we move into Hoops to End Homelessness, tell us about Operation Warm Heart and the work that you do throughout the region during the very cold days.
So Operation Warm Heart is our emergency winter shelter that we started in 2004, the winter of 2003-2004. And what we do is provide up to 14 people with a place to sleep. Every night's a different church, not all in Elizabeth, some outside of the city. And they provide them with a meal and a place, cots and supervision, someone there to talk to. And then the next morning, a light breakfast. And then we pick them up and bring them back to us again and continue to work with them, help them get into permanent housing. So it's been going on for almost 20 years now.
I know, and you work in conjunction with the county, right, in the city, and do we count people during that process, or do we try to get people off the street?
Well, our goal is to try to get people off the street, so that's like the first step. It's a chance to say, here's what can we do to help you? And really the heart of Operation Warm Heart is how kind and welcoming and hospitable the churches are. That really makes the difference.
So many years ago, you started Hoops to End Homelessness
Yes.
with the high school, and tell us, when did this event start? How was it created? Was it your idea? Was it Michael Fabricant's idea?
No, actually, it was one of our former board members, Bill Crum.
Oh, Father Bill Crum.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
he
I
was
was trying to think of his name the other day.
Yeah.
Father Bill
Well,
Crum.
it was his idea. He loves basketball, and he was assigned at that time at St. Patrick's. And he had the idea of doing a basketball classic. And our first classic was at Baton, and we filled so many seats that the next year we started having it at the Dunn Arena.
And you've had some big games, but
Oh, some real exciting ones.
now it's the competition on all these other
Well,
organizations hold these same type of tournaments.
What happened is that we had 3 high schools in Elizabeth that played. Now we only have 1 high school in Elizabeth. But aren't we lucky that they're doing so well and have given us really an exciting game?
So you're going to have it at the high school, the Dunn
It's
Arena
at the high
this year.
school.
And when is the event?
It's on February 6th. First game is at 5:30. It's a JV game, and the second game is at 7. And it is Elizabeth versus Roselle Catholic, which would be a very, very big game.
February 6th.
Yes,
Yeah,
Thursday night.
they're actually playing in January as well. That game's at Roselle Catholic.
Okay, it might be a chance for
A little rematch.
yeah.
What do you think of the event? Does it help teach people things? Did
Well,
students get to learn a little bit?
I think it gives people opportunity, in a venue that they wouldn't ordinarily encounter the issue, an opportunity to think about housing. This year we're asking people to bring in winter accessories because we'll probably have winter by then. And so that gives people a chance again to think about people who are outside and don't have a pair of gloves or a hat, and what is that like? So I think it's really important. It's really one of our big community events here in Elizabeth.
What other events besides the basketball tournament or activities? Would there be activities,
Well,
entertainment?
the school band is playing, and as you know, the Elizabeth High School Band is an award-winning band, so we're very excited to have
They
them
won the
this
state
year.
championship this
Yeah,
year.
yeah, they're really. One year they won nationals.
We
so
saw
they're
them
good.
play the heist, which was pretty cool. Whatever they did, I saw them compete. I saw them practice actually at Williams Field. They did a great job.
They are really very talented.
Prizes, raffles,
There's usually a 50-50 and other opportunities for giving, absolutely.
and the price of those tickets to get in.
$10 for an adult, $5 for a student, but if the student brings in a pair of gloves or a hat or a scarf, they can get in for free.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's great. So volunteers help with this event, or
Yes, it's a community event, so we're looking for people to help in the concession stands because we do sell pizza and hot dogs, and that's donated by our local pizzerias, of which we have one of the #1 pizzas in the nation, Santillo's.
and they're always helpful.
And they're wonderful, and Michelino's is wonderful. We have some great pizzerias, and they all donate pizza, and then we sell the slices. So there's lots to eat, and certainly opportunities to volunteer.
Are there other organizations helping out? Or do you have any ancillary organizations that help out, the Rotary or anybody else come in and pitch in for this
Well,
thing?
the Rotary comes in, and they have the Student Rotary Club, and they
Key Club or something like that?
yeah, and they come in and they help out too. So we always get a bunch of those.
Get a bunch of kids in and help out. And so if they want to know more information, it's February 6th. It's $10 for adults, $5. How can they follow up for?
Well, you're welcome to go to our website, and that'll take you to the basketball site, and you can buy tickets online. If you can't make the game, you're welcome to buy tickets for kids, and we give them out to students so they have an opportunity to come to the game, because some of our students are struggling too.
Right.
And so people can buy tickets, or they can become a sponsor.
And before we close, I noticed sometimes you get some kids from other parts of the county, maybe Westfield, Summit, and they come in and spend a day there for a project or something. Do they volunteer for that? Do they call you and say, hey, how can we help? We have a school project to do or something like that?
They do. They do. They give us a call. They're welcome to call us, 908-355-2060 and extension 202. And we'll help them get connected so that they can volunteer. We have a volunteer coordinator now.
Linda, I want to thank you for taking the
pleasure.
time out of your schedule to join us on the show. I look forward to seeing you on February 6th, hopefully tossing up the first ball, and we'll have an Elizabeth win against
Yeah,
Roselle Catholic.
absolutely.
Should be a big game.
Go team.
I want to thank Linda Flores-Tober and all of her work at the Elizabeth Coalition to Shelter the Homeless, and also for her efforts in fundraising. And if you can join us on February 6th Hoops to End Homelessness, you'll see a great basketball game between two great teams, Elizabeth High School and Roselle Catholic. So please join us and help out the homeless. We'll see you next week on another edition of Our City.